Whenever you rent or buy a video, you need to be sure that the film you choose is suitable for the audience at home. To help you, there are certificates given to films which tell you broadly what the film is like. This film has been classified 15, which means it's unsuitable for anyone younger than that. 15 films may have a fairly adult theme or contain scenes of sex, violence or drugs, which, while not particularly graphic, are unsuitable for younger teenagers. They may also contain sexual swear words. Video certificates are there to give you the chance to make an informed choice. They allow you to have peace of mind and be entertained. Thanks for listening. Enjoy the film.
You want some? Hello, and welcome to Time Ram, the Doctor Who podcast that's looking at you funny and needs to step outside. So the concept is that we take a random number generator and we generate a number from 1 to 13, and that gives us our Doctor. And then we generate another one from 1 to 298, which apparently is the number of Doctor Who stories. And we ram them together and see what happens, no matter how ill-advised that might be. And today we are going to be doing Matt Smith in The Curse of Peladon. So my name's Barry Williams, and to help me with this endeavour, I have with me Mr. Paul Ferry.
Hello.
And Mr. Rupert Booth.
Yes.
Is that it?
I thought you were never going to introduce us. That introduction seemed to go on forever.
Should I introduce you first?
No, chop it up. It's good. It's good.
Fine.
Even to the mystery. We should do one where, like, whoever's presenting doesn't introduce the other two until, like, halfway through or something, like Python.
Yeah.
You know, they put the credits on the beginning.
Hello, my name is Bernard Crimmins. So, I might just do that whole bit again. I've lost confidence in it.
I liked it. It made me laugh.
Oh, okay.
Let it go. Let it go.
All right, fine. To be fair, I mean, after your introduction on the previous one, I left it in there, but just us going, well, sometimes it has to be a shit one. So on the evidence today, sometimes it always has to be a shit one. So
The Time Ram way.
So yes, The Curse of Peladon, starring Matt Smith. So we're thinking on one part, 45 minutes to get this story told.
Yeah, I think you could fit it easily into 45 minutes because it's. Having watched it recently, it's quite thin, isn't it? There's not a lot to it.
John Purvis got a different pacing to the 21st Century Who's. So yeah, you could cut out a lot of the bits that kind of go in circles. Funny
enough, it does go in circles a bit, but funny enough, I was going to say I quite like the pacing. It gives you the time that you don't get in Modern Who much to do a bit of chilling out, which happens in life. You know, it's almost a bit more real for that reason. People do sometimes sit around and just have a chat. And it's, you know, you get lovely stuff with Joe the Doctor. You get some nice stuff with the Doctor and Hepesh as well, in that sort of way. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot to say about the Curse of Peladon. I thought of a point about the Curse of Peladon. Can I make my point about the Curse of Peladon?
Go
on.
Well, so I was just looking before because I was being good this week. I thought I'm going to read Andrew Pixley's archive, so I did.
That's more effort. Yeah.
Hello. No, yeah, I'm being diligent. That's weird. So it's commissioned. You know, basically early 1971. Barry Letts and Terence Dicks are looking at the next season, you know, the 72 season. And they bring Barry Letts in, not Barry Letts, they bring Brian Hales, and he's got a few ideas which are hilarious and bad. And Terence Dicks goes no, and this thing is concocted about, you know, this whole kind of it's a big universe, the Curse of Peladon. There's a lot of different aliens there, and it's very Star Trek. You might as well be looking at the Journey to Babel. Star Trek, of course, starts showing in England after the War Games, late 69, 1970. So they're concocting this very Star Trek thing in a world, in an England that's just seen Star Trek for the first time. And I hadn't made that connection. But it's really redolent. The whole even the Federation, you know, joining the Federation, the collection of different aliens, you know, representing. And it's lovely. I think it's really nice that Doctor Who was kind of surfing the zeitgeist in that way. going, let's riff on that. Or Brian Hale's run out of ideas.
I mean, Brian Hales, bless him, he's not the top drawer of Doctor Who writers. I'd say Curse of Peladon is probably his best script. I mean, clearly under the tutelage of Terrence Dicks.
Yeah.
I
Seeds
mean,
of Death is quite nice also, but again, under Terrence Dicks.
Seeds of Death, I think, almost entirely written by Terrence Dicks, which kind of explains that one.
Yeah.
I think Brian Hales did maybe the first 2 episodes, and then Terrence Dicks said, "Yeah, no." So, yeah.
And I think it's a fair point to make that the success of the Ice Warriors is largely down to the design rather than the concept. With the Daleks, it's very much both. The original. Yes, the design is amazing and better than it had any right to be, but the actual central concept is really good. Really interesting. It's something that's relatable and terrifying as it is. The Ice Warriors, as written, are Vikings, really stuck in ice, and it's Martin Boff who creates these great big lizardy costumes, which look fantastic. Sometimes, and I think that's really what. So yeah.
We have to remember with Curse of Peladon as well that it was a kind of satire of Britain joining the EU, and at the time we're doing it out, Matt Smith's time, people were starting to think about leaving, and
it'd be much more about the rise of UKIP and Nigel Farage.
See, because
Pepesh's Nigel Farage. Yeah,
that's what I thought. I thought they could be kind of thinking about leaving the Galactic Federation, and these other races come to persuade them to stay. But Hepesh thinks, no, I don't want them to be persuaded to stay. I want PEXIT.
And I tell you what, you can also actually do a really nice. That's a really nice satirical way in science fiction. You can do of clearly going, look, Farage stirs up racial tension. Pointing at the Ice Warriors and going, oh, green.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you want green men here? Do you want a massive dick with tentacles around? I know I do. Because Hepesh.
He's green too.
So
they're all green.
They're all green. Yeah. The Doctor's the only one who's not green.
So potentially, does that make Arcturus kind of Donald Trump? Well, as in he and Farage are always very thick as thieves, and Hepesh is always Hepesh. That clearly works, Paul. I'm thinking of it already. It's my head canon now.
I mean, Matt Smith, slightly before Donald Trump. Well, before he became president. Certainly.
True.
The whole Brexit.
But
thing
I mean,
was
the parallels are there.
Yeah.
I'm the clever one. You're the potato one.
Invaders from Mars. This is the 50s film Invaders from Mars.
Oh yeah.
That great classic terrible 50s film, which has got the ultimate development of mankind, which is a head in a jar with tentacles. I've always wanted to just film a conversation between Arcturus and that thing. Just all right. How's your bubble? That's okay.
Bit shit.
Without the disco lights, How's the Galactic Federation? Shit, man, shit. They all want out. It's going down the tubes, mate. Got the jobs going on Mars. No, the Ice Warriors cleaned us out. Green people, I told you. Heads in jars. That's what you want going forward.
Invaders from Mars. Weird, fantastic beings of a super intelligence, ruling a race of synthetic humans and pitting them against mankind's dream to conquer the universe.
So the story opens with a windswept castle on a cliff. It's a very nice Ian Scoons model shot.
Very nice Ian Scoons model shot.
Yeah.
Now going to be probably an equally nice CG shot.
Yeah. And we move inside the castle we see 2 old men. They're quite difficult to tell apart. They look fairly similar, but we've got Torbis and Hepesh, and they're standing in front of a young King Peladon.
Yeah.
And they're basically arguing about their status, about, in the original version, they're arguing about whether to join the Federation.
Yeah.
Matt Smith's era, they may be arguing about whether to leave the Federation.
I think let's definitely do that. It works.
Yeah. So they brought up King Peladon. He's a young king. He's lost his father. So they're supposed to be friends. But...
Does he look behind the fridge?
Down the back of the sofa, I find. But,
Oh, previous King Peladon. No, leave him now, King. Take out the cleaning. Just burn that sofa. It's fine. It's just a bit mean.
So Hepesh is the high priest, and he's anti the Federation. And Torbis is he's a bit more pro. He's the chancellor, but he gets killed pretty quickly fairly early on.
Did anybody notice that Torbis's costume appears to have epaulets made of rat?
I did not.
He's got these kind of animal skin epaulets, and if you look carefully at them, they've got little tails. They look like little rats. Have a look next time you watch it, folks.
Wow.
So maybe we should think about casting. So obviously we've got the young King Peladon.
Yeah.
Who's going to be playing him in 20 whatever.
Jodie Whittaker.
Jodie Whittaker. Make it a Queen Peladon. It could work. Yeah.
It's the best I've got.
I was thinking who's young at around that time, and I came up with James Corden, which
No, it's got to be an actor.
yeah.
James Corden. That's just destroyed this political satire immediately.
There's such a lot of very generic young actors these days. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It could be almost
Yeah.
anyone. And twin
Deck.
princes.
Yeah. Anton Deck. We'll go with that. Anton Deck.
No, we won't. What? Now come along, take Time Ram seriously.
Now J&T would, if he'd still been kicking around, he'd have done that.
Yes, he would have done at the ages they were then, like 10. Doing that much, we'll leave the Federation. I don't know.
Aye, let's bugger off.
We need to do what's best for our people, man. But the kick
Spooky.
Oh,
Young King Peladon. We've got young King Peladon. We've got Hepesh. We've got
I tell you
Torbis.
what. Let's nail this down. Which story are we replacing? Which era is this? Who's the companion? Who's the president?
Yeah, that's a good.
Yeah, I
good
thought.
shout.
I mean, if the first thing you think is that it's Amy, but the more I kind of thought about it, I think it fits a little bit better with that short era that he was with Clara, because Joe's kind of getting ready to go on a date and all that, and so much of Clara's stuff started with her kind of getting ready to go on a date, then the Doctor turns up and makes a mess of it all. You know, I'm thinking, does it work better with Clara?
I was thinking if you're doing Clara, you could kind of flip it so that Clara ends up being the Federation ambassador, and the Doctor is a hapless assistant. It's kind of nobody respects.
Yeah.
I had Clara in mind purely because she's a single companion, and so is Joe.
Yeah.
Trouble is, most Pertwee stories are a single companion, apart from you, Nate. So we're gonna have to use Amy. Okay, so it's a Clara era one. So Rings of Akaten, should we chuck that one?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Any excuse to get rid of that.
Throw it under the bus.
I'm the only person in the world who quite likes it, I think. But
Actually, I quite like it. To be fair,
there we are.
Yeah,
it should have turned out to be Sutek in that sarcophagus, though. But
yeah, it kind of falls apart at the end. But yeah,
it was all right till it became Flash Gordon.
And I like the Flash Gordon bit. What I could do without is yet another of the Doctor's big speeches of how amazing the Doctor is. Oh, stop it. Stop. You never used to go on that much about how amazing he is.
Yeah.
Really. It was a bit arrogant.
Even Pertwee.
It wouldn't be pages and pages. No, Pertwee, I mean, there's no way Pertwee was going to do pages and pages of dialogue unless it was written on the console. So, yeah. I've got King Peladon. I've got a point when we come to King Peladon. King Peladon has not got game, is all I'm saying.
I think we'll come to that. Yeah, it's definitely a case. Yeah. So it's around about early 2013.
Early 2013. So what young guy is current 2013 then, actor-wise? And three people hovering around.
Ed Sheeran.
Ed Sheeran's fine. Ed Sheeran. Right.
Unless we make it a queen, maybe it could be a Queen Peladon.
See, it could be somebody like it probably around that time. I don't know how old he was then. It could be somebody like Patterson Joseph.
I tell you what, he's too old.
Yeah, he probably would have been at that time. Yeah.
How about we have Helen Mirren as Hepesh?
You can't have Helen Mirren in every episode.
Right, you're gonna cast a black guy as the racist. Yeah.
Yeah,
because they wouldn't do that in 2013. I think.
He's kind of uncertain though, isn't he?
Might
he's kind of ineffectual.
He hates aliens.
Yeah, the thing is actually it's cast an actor as it'd be really good.
And Hepesh is a really good part. So
you don't want to waste it on. So fine, cool. Okay. So who's Torbis? Torbis is Rat's Tails then, who gets thumped. Helen Mirren.
Well, Torbis isn't around for long.
He could be anybody,
Yeah, could be anyone. Could be,
Pat Gorman. Yeah. Pat Gorman, as far as I know, never appeared in the new series. What the hell is wrong with that? That's wrong. It's like the Brigadier. He's worked with everyone.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So Hepesh has got this guy working for him called Grun, who never speaks. I guess it's Grun from Grunt, but he's just he grunts. I can't remember. Is he involved in Torbis's death?
Torbis gets slain by the shadow of Agador.
The Shadow of Agador, that's right. Yeah.
I bet it
yeah.
wouldn't be a shadow this time. I bet you'd get a CG claw coming in and giving it some.
Yeah, you would, yeah.
Every time I see the actor who plays Grun, I can't help thinking he looks like a kind of butch version of Graham Chapman.
He does. As Mr. Neutron. I was watching Mr. Neutron last week in the background, and and of course, because Peladon's on my mind, I went, it's Grun. Yeah. It would therefore be hilarious to dub loads of Mr. Neutron's lines on Grun.
Then there's Stanley, he's our eldest. He's a biochemist in Sutton. He's married to Shirley.
Shirley, who used to be the hairdresser.
Yes, that's right. I think she's a lovely person. Mind you, my husband doesn't think she's a bit flash.
I hate her. I hate her guts.
Of course, they come down most weekends, so you'll be able to meet them then.
I'd love to. Hairdressing is very interesting.
Oh, yes, and very important too. If you don't care for your scalp, you get rabies. Then there's Philip, he's our youngest. Mind you, he's a bit of a problem, at least my
It's
husband.
like that guy from Hot Fuzz as well, who just goes,
Yeah, it's the Buffon with Grun. It's the early
It's
70s
Buffon,
Buffon. It's got mate. You know, the stature's good enough. He's towering over Pertwee even, but then there's the Buffon on top. You leave it to the doctor. But
in fact, it could be that bloke from Hot Fuzz before he found fame with Game of Thrones. He could be playing Grun. That'd probably be fine.
can you have it down?
Who
Who is he in Game of Thrones?
He plays he plays the heavy, the kind of the big bloke. He kind of works for the king, and then
The Mountain?
he's kind of the Mountain.
Who?
Not the
No.
Mountain, the other one, the
The
Hound.
Hound. Right.
Yeah, he's really good.
Cool. Yes.
Anyway.
Excellent. Oh, I can totally see him as Grun. That's terrifying, actually. That's much more intimidating than is it Gordon Sinclair?
Than the actual
Yeah.
Grun. Yeah.
It's glowering at you. And you
yeah,
just know he's thinking,
imagine.
going through his head. You know, Arcturus walked in. Officer Dory goes, ridiculous.
Now we're going to have to either cut or bleep that.
Game of Thrones. I'm just quoting Game of Thrones. It's in characters. It's justified.
You can edit this.
Oh, please be quiet.
So the TARDIS lands on a cliff, and inside, it's going to be Clara. In the original, it's Jo. She's wearing a nice frock because Mike's taken her out at the time. I assume he's taken her to the local gay club. And
This fits into my point later about how little game King Peladon has. At the end of the day, David Mike Yates is preferable. That is emasculating. You're the king. just seeing like.
I don't know how active the scene was in the unit era. I guess it's set in the near future. Maybe it's fine. So yeah, explains why Jo, for the only time in her career, is wearing a long skirt. So they step outside the TARDIS just as it falls off the cliff and it topples away.
Very Matt Smith, that. Totally Matt Smith. I can see him flailing around. He'd be nearly falling off the edge, and Clara's grabbing him back.
Yeah.
You know, as the cliff crumbles, it's much more high stakes.
It is actually a bit like Cold War, isn't it? Where she turns up, she's got a nice frock on for some reason. I can't remember exactly why, but. Yeah. So yeah, they need to sort of climb up the cliff to get out of there. So while this is going on, we get to meet some of the alien delegates. Alpha Centauri turns up.
So can we talk about him?
Let's talk about the hexapod in the room.
What's he going to look like? He's not going to look like that.
It depends if we've already had Monster of Peladon. If Monster of Peladon came in 1968, which
then let's just say it's an updated version of the original design.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In that, because what if it's a Heartless? What if it's like story 3? Yeah.
I mean, if this is the first appearance of Alpha Centauri, you're right. He's not going to look like a giant penis.
But the time round does not give us that.
The time round has
comfort.
Not been forthcoming. No. Yeah.
So we have to give the penis the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, it's Schrodinger's penis at this point.
It is. So it's kind of, you know, knob-like with an eye on top and tentacles. Is it CG or is it practical? Probably a combination of both, actually.
Yeah, I'm more likely to be CG, I would think.
It features a hell of a lot.
Yeah, it does feature a lot. Yeah.
So you'd probably want something practical on set at least. Plus Agador's going to be CG and he's going to eat the budget up.
What is it in that Princess of Mars? It's CG, isn't it? Alpha Centauri.
Well, it's a blob on a screen, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's not in it as
deliberately,
much, doesn't it get?
I was just trying to remember whether I don't think they'd have made a prop for that, would they?
They might have done, because frankly, I could knock one up myself, you know, a bit of latex,
Yeah.
a bit of plasticine and stuff, and you know, stick your hand in it and make the eye do that.
Yeah.
And it's a blob on a screen, so that's all you need.
Mm.
Probably quicker to do that than do a CG, but
Mm.
who knows?
Research after the event. Yeah.
Research actual facts from actual people.
Actual.
People, not mythical,
So Alpha Centauri is quite nervous.
as were we.
Yeah. She, I suppose, still a hermaphrodite, is alarmed by Torbus's death. So Hepish takes them to see Arcturus, who is another delegate. And Arcturus, as we know, is a kind of a head in a jar, or not.
I think he would be. I think there's no reason why it wouldn't be an updated version of exactly what it is, probably with the bloke inside. Possibly radio controls.
Yeah.
But why not just do? I always quite liked that design. I thought that was really quite nice.
Mm.
I think probably a bit sleeker and a bit more, you know, more surface gubbins.
It'd probably be that guy who was the Mox of Balhoun and
Yeah, it'd be Jimmy V.
yeah, Jimmy V.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he'll probably have his head in it actually, so
Yeah.
he can express, so he can act with like prongs and things coming out of it, so that the head area will be bigger, like the guy from Invaders from Mars.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
all heads in jars must take their cue.
We learn a bit more about Peladon's background because he's half human.
On his mother's side, yeah.
Yeah, he's been brought up by Hepish and Torbus, but of course Hepish dislikes the Federation. He doesn't like green people.
He's the anti-Terran stick.
Does not like heads in
Yeah.
jars and is really down on ambulatory
No.
ticks.
He really likes pints of beer in pubs.
He does, yeah. He like
And,
being one of the men going down the
yeah.
mines and hanging out and just going, all right, lads.
Blue passports.
Yeah, blue passports. He's all about that.
All these aliens coming here with their mining equipment taking your job, guys.
We don't need their mining equipment. We can do it with our teeth.
We should drown them in space before they get here.
So before we get too political,
It's the world that's made us like this. We didn't start it.
No.
it's made us bitter.
It just made us bitter. No,
Uh,
actually, we were bitter 20 years ago. There's nothing new.
We've always
This is
been bitter.
absolutely just
Mhm.
same old, literally over.
This is business as usual bitterness. Yeah.
It really is. It really is. Yeah. Business is bitterness. We always aim to please.
Parents are only one rung above politicians, though. You always know when they're lying. Their lips move.
So in the meantime, the Doctor and Clara are climbing up a cliff
Have you noticed in the original that Pertwee is quite clearly a stuntman?
most of the time. Yeah.
He had his back problems though. Didn't he have fused vertebrae? I believe it's quite difficult to sort of put your hands up and
Yeah.
He's a stuntman, but Katie Manning, who's wearing like massive high heels, is actually Katie Manning.
she's less expensive.
That's a bit like in Castrovalva where they made the girls climb a cliff in short skirts and heels.
Yeah. They were all in their early 20s. They'd have bounced. It's fine. Break another one off a tree. That one breaks. It's all good. Yeah. Where are we? Oh yeah, they're climbing up the cliff,
Yeah, Doctor and Clara climb up a cliff.
which I think looks great
Yeah.
in the original.
It does actually. Yeah.
It would look great now. I think it's really, you know, it absolutely was the right decision to go and shoot it evening.
Yeah.
Do it on film. Yeah, and it looks great.
All those film bits, they look
They do.
amazing.
They do.
Yeah,
They do.
so,
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only one of
Yeah.
the few times in the Pertwee era where films used only for evening rather than location,
Yeah.
nothing on location at all.
Mm.
But it looks, you know, in 1982 certainly looked convincing to me.
This is the Doctor. Present time, high national time loss. Keeper of the legacy of Rassilon. Defender of the laws of time. Protector of Gallifrey.
So the Doctor and Clara are climbing up the cliff, and then they find a cave, which takes them
Yeah.
into some corridors and then into the Agador Temple.
Do we think, being the new series, that they'd put some Agadoo gag in there?
Yes, that will happen.
That'd be very Matt Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what he sings to him to calm him down, like, you know, just with some baffle gab kind of going, amazing. That so happens that the absolute resonances of that song needs to be exactly the thing that
Yeah.
triggers this animal's sit down and relax reflex. Blimey.
There's quite a nice moment where the Doctor finds a lit torch, and that shows them where the secret entrance is into the castle. Where almost immediately they see the Ice Warriors, and he's appalled because obviously the Ice Warriors are villains at this point,
Yeah.
possibly any point really. but they're delegates.
How much of a fire hazard is that castle, by the way? It's got lit torches right next to tapestries.
Yeah, it's fucking medieval is what it is. Yeah.
It's a miracle the blaze hasn't burnt down to the ground.
And wouldn't you think that the ice warriors, whenever they're walking down one of those corridors, be kind of going, fire, another one, dear hot. Don't like that. Yes. Yeah. So the ice warriors would know what they're going to look like. They're going to look like the Matt Smith Ice Warriors.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'd imagine they look exactly like that. Yeah.
Assuming we've had any ice warrior stories before this, because it is just possible we haven't. It's unlikely, but it's possible.
Yeah. Well,
but the nice thing with the ice warriors is, fortunately, the design is basically the same, just updated. So ice warrior is ice warrior.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, they turn up in Cold War as well, don't they? And they don't look that much different. Yeah.
And also in the Capaldi story with the Ice Queen, that's what Islia's going to look like, a bit more masculine, but it's going to be like that, isn't it? Really nice looking. Do we know who plays the Ice Warriors? Do we care?
Just guys in masks, aren't they?
Well, they've still got to act.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Islia's got to act.
Yeah, Alan Bennion in the original.
Alan Bennion, I think, does a really good job as the three different Ice Warriors. I think they come over as three different Ice Warriors for Ice Lords.
Yeah.
And Islia's the subtle one. Islia's the reasonable one. He's not just parroting threats at you. He has some really nice stuff with the Doctor and with Joe, kind of going, "Hey, confront your prejudice."
Yeah.
And so I think he shouldn't be underrated. And so I think the casting of Islia is probably important.
Yeah.
Helen Mirren?
Is she available? Helen Mirren. What's she doing?
Is she available? Good answer.
Oh dear.
You could actually make it like an Ice Queen. You could feminize that character.
Yeah, you could do. Yeah.
Still call it Islia. It doesn't matter.
So we shouldn't forget sort of Sean Phillips, who does that kind of part as well, doesn't she? She's very good in some of those roles.
Sean Phillips is Islia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She wouldn't do it.
No, probably not. But
maybe this is where they get lumbered by what's his face, who wouldn't act.
Yeah, his name's gone out of my head. Burkoff. Yeah.
Because he looked really good as Islia, actually. You can imagine what it'd be like, with the makeup he had, with the helmet on, obviously. Except, of course, he's not going to stand there and say
he wouldn't do it.
So
he wouldn't do it. No.
He'd say he'd do it and then not do it.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'm not going to get Islia, am I?
It's difficult. Yeah.
Bernard Cribbins.
Let's keep Bernard Cribbins for Wilf. I'm sure Wilf's going to turn up at some point. So yes, they all go in to see the king. Hepesh is now connecting Torbus's death to the legend of the Curse of Peladon.
It's so Nigel Farage. It's great.
Yeah.
Really works.
Yeah.
Really works.
Yeah. So he's talking about Agador, the monster of Peladon, who's supposedly extinct but will rise again, a bit like King Arthur.
Hairier.
Yeah.
Less swordy. Hairier. Less swordy.
Yeah. So the Doctor and Clara walk into this, and Clara is immediately greeted as the delegate from Earth, with the Doctor as Prince Doctor of TARDIS.
Of TARDIS. Yeah. Well, if Islia is female, that's quite nice, then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just instantly assumes, right, there we go.
Yeah. Can you imagine Matt Smith's reaction to Alpha Centauri? I mean, he's going to be pulling one of his Matt Smith faces.
He's just going to be circling around and going, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. I suppose Tennant's worth be going, you are beautiful.
Yeah.
But
Clara's going to kind of just raise a couple of eyebrows like that.
Just
and Matt Smith's going to go, what are you thinking? I'm not thinking. Because she's into tentacle porn. Is why.
There you go. It's out there.
Thank you, Doctor.
King Peladon, meanwhile, is immediately on the flirt.
Who was that on for King Peladon? It wasn't Deck, was it?
Was it Ed Sheeran?
Ed Sheeran, that's right.
Yeah.
What a fantastic scene this is. I'm loving this. Matt Smith basically standing slack-jawed at Alpha Centauri. There's an Ice Warrior Queen kind of, giving it some with Clara, and Ed Sheeran's flanging at them all. Excellent. And Peyton Joseph's standing there just going, oh dear, I don't like this. I don't want to look at them. And there's a massive Clegane bastard there going, best scene in Doctor Who. I say that every week, don't
Yeah, I haven't seen him in Yesterday. I wouldn't count on Ed Sheeran as doing anything that would be instantly recognizable as acting.
Okay, yeah, you know, there are these misfires sometimes.
So he's another Lee John.
He's a Lee John. I watched Enlightenment yesterday. I watched Enlightenment yesterday. What is the point of Lee John? Why is he there? He says about 5 lines, all of them badly. It's just,
yeah.
It's kind of JNT's technique of stunt casting, which occasionally seems to extend to people that he thinks are fantastic, that most other people haven't heard of.
What band was Lee John in?
Fuck knows.
Imagination? Yeah.
Exactly. Neither of us know. Oh, do you actually know? You actually knew, didn't you?
Paul's the muso. He knows these things.
I think it might be Imagination.
Paul knew. I was gonna use that to prove my point. You see, it's kind of like, what was the point of Lee John?
We can record it. Say it again. And I want
No, I don't want to. No, you've broken it. It's broken now. Leave it. Go away. It's fine. I don't need to make that point.
So in the original version, we need a cliffhanger. So everybody files out of the throne room. They're going to head for the conference room. Grun.
Jesus. We're not on episode 1 yet. Fuck it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Grun has sneaked out behind a curtain and is pushing a fiberglass statue of Agador.
Yeah.
Which plunges down on them.
Actually, polystyrene. Okay. And the Doctor pushes Alpha Centauri and I think possibly Islia out of the way. That resolves the cliffhanger. And then they all file back into the throne room. It kind of shows you just how pointless that was. But no, it's not because the moving Islia out of the way is important.
That is important, actually. They do use that, yeah. But it is a bit odd the way they all kind of go out and then they all go straight back in again.
Yeah. It didn't matter when there was a week in between.
It didn't. Yeah, it's all right then. Yeah.
And there are chairs in there. They can have a sit down. Yeah. Alpha Centauri is palpitating.
Yeah.
You know, the Ice Warriors are, well, they're stoic. They're fine.
Yeah. So, King Peladon still wants to join the Federation, but he is kind of more interested in chatting up, I'm guessing, Clara rather than the Doctor.
Right. This is my game point, isn't it? Can I do my okay. Look,
yeah, go
so I was watching this again in preparation for this, and I just thought, what are you doing, King Peladon, when he's trying to chat up Joe? Hey, Earth Girl, you remind me of my mother that started Dynasty. Fuck off. You weird fuck. What? I just said you like my mother. Yes, this is the problem, matey. You know, and then he's just completely wet all the time. Oh, no, I didn't mean that. And Joe's quite fiery. Joe's got better. And this is it. I just thought, Joe's got Mike Yates waiting. Yeah. Oh boy. Oh, King Peladon. Oh, you need instruction. You know, Hepesh needs to sit you down and go, right, look.
This is how you talk to girls. Yeah. It's terrible, but he brings the politics into it. He says, you know, we can.
Yeah.
And then she gets really angry with it.
And it's fair point, isn't it? You know, he does start off by declaring undying love, basically, and then starts going physical. And she quite rightly goes, "Fuck off."
Yeah.
What? You want your physical form?
And he does it in a really obvious way as well.
Yeah. And I tell you what, because we all saw this, I assume, for the first time in 1982, it gave me a really false impression of Joe. I thought she was a lot more kind of ballsy than she eventually ended up being.
Yeah.
Because she just, you know, stands up for herself and goes, "No, I'm better than that. Thanks. No, King. See ya." Which is great.
Maybe her IQ varies with her skirt length. Maybe that's what it.
Maybe it does. Maybe. Yeah. She's also pretty damn effective in Frontier in Space, where she's got that fantastic judo suit that they should let her wear all the time. They should have let her dress like that from the start. Joe secret agent. She's a secret agent. She works for Unit.
Yeah.
You know.
I like her outfit in Carnival of Monsters as well. That's quite practical.
That's a decent one for going around the marshes. Almost like it was pre-planned.
Yeah. So Joe's gone on a date and she ends up in a story where she needs to be an ambassador. Who knew? So that doesn't go terribly well for him.
But then this is Ed Sheeran and Clara. You know, is it going to go better? Yeah, maybe oh my God, no. Moffat would say no.
Would he?
Yes.
Would he though?
Yes, he would.
Would he?
He would, yeah.
Ed Sheeran singing a song in my program.
With a lute.
Yeah.
This is replacing Rings of Akaton, remember, which was kind of musical.
Listener, you heard I tried to argue for sanity. The pair of them ganged up on me. All right. They've got their fucking song from Sheeran then. It's on them. Right? This is on them. You heard. As listener is my witness.
So anyway.
So it's going to do a song. There are Ice Warriors in the room. I know the Ice Warriors have gone by this point.
No, they've left. They've left.
Yeah, they're wise.
Yeah. He got his loot out. They're like, right, we're fucking out of here.
He did what, sorry?
He got his loot out.
I see.
Not his penis. It's not that direct.
Sorry, I don't recall David Peladon getting his loot out. At what point does this happen?
As long as it doesn't get his Crumhorn out.
You called him David Peladon.
It's all descended into nothing. We've got David Peladon, a Crumhorn, and we're only just at the beginning of episode 2 still.
Well, David Troughton, you made me do it. David Troughton.
It kind of works. I want to watch it.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm David Peladon.
God knows what David Troughton thought in this episode, because I mean they put him in that wig with the kind of the streak through it, and then he's got thigh-high boots and a little skirt. I mean, he looks astonishing.
It was 1972. Look what Mark Bolan looked like.
Yeah.
This is nothing. Look what his heavy looks like. Look at Grun. Look at him. Imagine getting into a fight with the fucker. Imagine the size of his buffon.
Can we call this episode The Curse of David Peladon?
Yes, I think we should. Anyway, look, I really want to clarify, at what point did David Troughton's King Peladon get his loot out? What are you saying, Baz?
He doesn't, because he hasn't got game, but Ed Sheeran's...
Oh, right. Ed Sheeran gets...
Ed Sheeran's got a loot.
He's kind of got his bling.
He's got a loot. Yeah.
Has he got his boys to kind of like hang out? It's like Sale of the Century. He's kind of like showing her things. You can have that. You see that shiny thing? That's yours.
Then when she says no, he can go, here's what you could have won. A speedboat.
What's Matt Smith doing? Is he doing anything in this story? He's not doing a lot. Has he found affairs? Is he happy? He's sitting in a corner wearing affairs with Malcolm's clagging his pipes.
Yeah.
They're all in a corner. It's fine.
We'll come to Matt Smith in a bit. He'll be right.
It's all right. He's going to have a wrestling match soon.
Well, not if Clara's the chairman delegate, he isn't.
We do discover around this point, and it's not a great shock, but it turns out that Hepesh and Grun are behind everything. But the Doctor, meanwhile, is suspicious of the Ice Warriors. Mm-hmm. And the Ice Warriors are suspicious of him, and it's not helped when Arcturus's life support gets damaged.
Yeah.
And they all start blaming each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then in the original, Joe goes to the Ice Warrior quarters to find the missing unit from Arcturus's life support. Mm-hmm. And we get a very nice sort of sequence where she gets caught.
Yep.
She escapes out the window. It's a really lovely looking sequence where she kind of goes along the outside of the castle, comes back in, and almost immediately gets caught again. So so we probably eliminate most of that.
Yep. Yeah. Well, finding the unit. Let's have a finding the unit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or is that the Doctor? Are we, what are we doing? Are we changing their role? If she's being the chairman delegate,
I think she'll need to go and find the unit. I think.
Right. So what's the Doctor doing?
The Doctor,
he's fixing he's bodging Arcturus together, isn't he? And making
he's bodging Arcturus, and then Grun tricks him into following him. Mm-hmm. And actually, John Pertwee spends most of episode 2 following Grun around.
Come on.
John Pertwee spends most of episode 2 just wandering around these caves or in the background before eventually finding his way into Agador's temple. But we'll come to that.
Just with it being during Matt Smith's era, if we did do the bit with Clara out on the ledge, what would probably happen is her mobile phone would ring while she was like halfway along the ledge.
Yeah. It'll be someone at school. Yeah.
Oh, she's not working for the school yet. It'll be the kids that she's tutoring.
Going, you're not on a space adventure, are you? No.
Yeah. When you go back and watch the kind of modern episodes, when you've been watching older ones, you notice how much mobile phone stuff there is in them, how much they use that. Particularly Moffat and RTD as well. They really push the mobile phones.
It's the sort of aspect of everyday life that's changed completely since the 90s, really. So mid to late 90s.
Ironically, I suppose it's a kind of touch point, as in it's the communications device which is intended as the familiar thing with the unfamiliar stuff going on around it.
So absolutely would do that. Yeah.
I thought that was quite profound, actually.
Should probably be using it to phone the Doctor and say, look, I found this suspicious thing in these quarters.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
and the doctor's taking the call in front of the Ice Warriors and going, "Shut up."
This line's terrible. You sound like you're in the howling gale.
So she gets captured again by Islir, who explains that Arcturus was never in danger. So there's something else going on, and the Ice Warriors are now pursuing the course of peace. They've changed since we last saw them, whenever that was. I've got no idea. But,
who knows? Who knows? The mystery that is the ram, lost in the ram's curls.
So we get to the second cliffhanger where the Doctor's captured by Hepesh in Agador's temple, where he's not allowed to be. And Peladon is forced to sentence him to death.
Yeah. And sings a song about it?
Probably. We ain't got time for that many songs. Yeah.
I was arguing that we didn't have time for one.
So the Doctor's sentence is in the next episode commuted to death by Grun, which is obviously a huge relief. So we get another scene with individual between Joe and King Peladon, where she's not happy with him because he's just sentenced the Doctor to death, and then he proposes marriage.
Again, I'm not saying I'm any good at this here, but really, dude, no.
Yeah.
Mixed messages for a start.
Yeah.
She's not going to feel safe. She's going to want to back away.
This is when David Troughton was young and hot, so he's got his boots on. But...
He's got his boots on, and presumably Ed Sheeran has the same boots.
Yeah, would Ed Sheeran wear those boots?
I've been imagining him all the way through dressed exactly the same as David Troughton, which is hilarious.
I'm trying not to.
Embrace it. It's funny. Trying to be earnest, being Ed Sheeran dressed like that, trying to pull, basically everything wrong, every single thing wrong.
That's the exciting thing. Nobody in the universe can do what we're doing.
We're in episode 3.
It's a bump of volume.
So the Doctor gets locked up, as tends to happen. Hepesh comes to see him, and they have quite an interesting conversation where Hepesh tries to make a deal with him, says he'll let him escape if he just leaves, I think. But the Doctor's saying, he's onto him. He's like, you'll get your guards to kill me immediately. And Hepesh is like, no, I wouldn't do that to you.
Peter and Joseph probably play it like that actually as well.
He does admit that he's got an ally in the Federation, so there is someone that's working for the other side. So the Doctor spends his time making a sort of spinning mirror device. He does eventually escape, but as predicted, Hepesh immediately sends some men to kill him. But he goes off and he bumps into Agador and he starts hypnotizing Agador.
Agador is going to look like the wolf from Tooth and Claw, I think.
Yeah.
Especially
CG.
with the big CG thing.
Yeah.
That's not, because it's not in it as much as Alpha Centauri, so it doesn't have to interact as much.
They'd probably make it quite scary, wouldn't they? Probably.
Yeah. The Taran Wood Beast, the most maligned monster in all of Doctor Who.
Yes, I'm personally acquainted with the Taran Wood Beast, yes.
The body of it is Agador.
Okay.
All right.
So and someone owns that now, and I'm not sure if they realise they own Agador's body, just not his head.
Because they made that on about a thumpy bit, didn't they? It's kind of...
Yeah, it's not good. It's kind of a paper mache head and Agador.
Always been slightly disappointed by how small Agador is.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got this kind of big, impressive kind of head, and it's kind of a good mask, but it's not a fantastically tall actor in it, whoever, or stuntman or whoever. And he's just like, he's about a foot shorter than Pertwee. He's quite small.
Probably Pat Gorman, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a shame they didn't put some sort of muscle padding in foam underneath the fur to give it a bit more and distort the human shape a bit, get great big shoulders and stuff like that, and a bit more gorilla-like. And which would have been perfectly doable. These techniques were available then. It's how the Axons were built, really. They built them out of foam and then put stuff over that and latex.
Yeah. It's a good head. Yeah, I mean, it's better than the Magna Beast, isn't it? So
it is. I used to draw Agador endlessly after seeing Curse of Peladon. I was always drawing Agador. I think it was a particularly good picture.
He looks a bit like Alf.
Yeah.
Angry Alf.
But Alf with the horn.
Can you say that?
But in fairness, actually, Alf looks like Agador.
Go ahead, time round.
So we kind of, while that's going on, Clara's joined forces with the Ice Warriors. It's quite good that Joe's being quite capable in the story. Kind of fits Clara, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then she goes off to find the Doctor, and this is a bit more Joe-like. She accidentally chases off Agador. But then they return to Peladon and they confront Hepesh with the truth. doesn't really help much. So Peladon confirms sentence, and Terry Walsh is lowered into some netting to fight with Grun.
Yeah, but it's not Terry Walsh.
Not in this one. No. In the
It's
original,
probably
it's
Matt
Terry
Smith.
Walsh.
No.
It'll be Matt Smith.
He'd probably do most of it himself. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll lower him in.
Thing is, I don't think he'd be doing. Yeah, he wouldn't be doing much fighting. Though,
It'd be
would he?
girding and running away.
It'd be a lot of hop skipping around and getting out of the way. But
Yeah.
yeah. Doctors either engage or avoid, don't they? I suppose they are the only two ways of responding to fighting. Really.
It's an interesting one with Matt Smith, isn't he? I mean, does he ever get into a fight with someone? I'm not sure that he does.
Not that I recall. I mean, even Capaldi occasionally busts out with Alicia Aikido.
Yeah.
No, I don't recall him ever getting into a fight.
I think Smith would be doing a lot of talking, wouldn't he? He'd be doing a lot of kind of trying to talk him round and just
going.
Yeah.
You're determined to get as many cuts in as you can, aren't you? So to speak, you know.
I'm gonna have to edit this, you know.
It's gonna be a right cut to edit this one.
It'll be an absolute bagger. Right. So anyway, so the fight somehow Matt Smith manages to best Grun.
Yeah.
And has him at his mercy. And Arcturus sticks his prong out.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Worrying.
Yeah, and that's the end of episode 3 in the original.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, no, actually, the end of episode 3 is even better than that. Arcturus sticks his prong out, and then the Ice Warrior turns around and fires.
Yeah.
That's the last shot. He's firing at something.
Yeah. Sasorg. That's how you pronounce it. Sasorg kills him. Yeah.
Who's probably played by the bloke who played the Ice Warriors in the recent thing, actually. That's
whoever that was. Yeah.
Whoever that was. Unless they just get Sonny
actor.
Caldinez. Is he Sonny Caldinez?
Sonny Caldinez. He's a bit old to be doing.
He's still around though, isn't he?
Oh, he's still around, but yeah.
You can't stop Sonny Caldinez.
Yeah, but covering him in latex and fiberglass might not be the best.
Yeah, that's what he likes.
Keeps him going.
He wants it, it's a Sonny.
I think they missed an opportunity when Arcturus gets killed to not have him just head just explode inside that dome, just like goo sort of go against the outside of the dome. Yeah.
Well, this will happen this time. They'll blow up Jimmy D's head.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so Arcturus is dead and revealed as the traitor.
Yeah. Exactly.
Clara will helpfully go, so Arcturus was the traitor all along in the very next shot.
Yeah.
Which I always thought was a bit clunky. Kind of, we've got it.
And Hepesh runs away, or Joseph Patterson just escapes.
Patterson Joseph.
Do you mean Patterson Joseph?
Patterson Joseph, yeah.
And you had a go at me for David Peladon.
His name's the wrong way around. It's not my fault.
It's like Elton John, isn't it? John Elton should be.
Yeah.
Do anyone remember that? I'm sure it was an Alexi Sale sketch where he goes on about kind of how certain stars have got like just one name and others have got like 3, and he does this thing about how the ones with 3 should give a name to the ones with 1. He kind of comes up with these composite names.
Yeah, poor old Adele. Yeah, I do feel for her. Yeah.
So Sting can have the Jean left over from Jean-Paul Sartre and become Jean Sting. Sade can have the Banks left over from Nancy Banks-Smith to become Sade Banks. And Meryl Streep can become Hugh Davis. Also, there will be a surplus of names sufficient to complete one new person, Leslie Lloyd.
So where do we get to?
The fight and the one and Arcturus is the traitor.
Yes, and Patterson Joseph escapes. Yeah, so this it creates a little bit of a problem because the Ice Warriors shooting Arcturus could start a war within the Federation. So there's various discussions about that. Meanwhile, Grun kind of motions to the Doctor, who you think would have learned his lesson, but now he follows him into the tunnels again.
Did I say it? I didn't say it. It's been good.
He leads them to where Hepesh is starting a rebellion. But Grun's changed sides because the Doctor spared him, I think.
He doesn't mind green people anymore.
Yeah. He's decided to be less racist. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or alienist or whatever it is. Yeah.
They're just bastards now.
Yeah. So Hepesh shoots Grun, and the Doctor finds Grun as he's... Does he shoot Grun?
With an arrow, this is with an arrow?
Yeah.
Or does it get gore-ed?
I don't know. Is he killed or stunned? I don't know. The Doctor finds... He's okay, isn't he?
He's not killed. He's all right, but he's wounded.
He's wounded. Yeah.
Don't they just like thump him with a rock or something?
Yeah.
I think one of Hepesh's guards just kind of comes up behind him and goes whack with a rock.
Right.
Because Grun's basically picking Hepesh up and going, "No, you're coming with me."
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Hepesh calls Grun a snowflake, and off he goes.
Yep, he does. He does indeed. Yep.
Yeah. So the Doctor and Grun go and find Agador. There's a lot more politics going on at this point as well. We should mention with Clara and the delegates. They're voting to support King Peladon in this war that's developing on Peladon between Hepesh and the king.
Hoping that that'll be the deciding thing that will keep Peladon in the Federation. Makes sense.
Yeah.
They can't communicate with their spaceships because their communicators have been broken, and this rebellion almost immediately captures King Peladon.
Oh, you'd think you have the communicators.
Yeah.
Right. So they're all the communicators. Have none of them got like a mobile? Have none of them got a communicator? I mean, Clara's got a communicator. Has that been broken?
That's true. They should just have little communicators that they carry around on them.
You'd think all the ice warriors have ones built into their guns, on their arms.
Yeah.
Much more 2013.
Yeah.
Do we need that? Maybe they.
There's a hand wave. There's a blanketing field. There's something that stops them communicating.
Yeah, some kind of jamming thing.
There's jam. Yeah.
It's Ed Sheeran's jamming, and they can't communicate.
Well, Ed Sheeran got his loot out, so
Yeah.
The caves are full of lead.
But they're above the cave.
Right.
Built the castle out of lead. The castle's made out of solid lead.
The castle's made of lead.
And the sky is lead.
The sky is lead. All right. Yeah, can't get past that one. The sky of Peladon is lead. This is an interesting planet.
Got a lot of minerals, most of them in the sky.
Mostly lead.
Yeah, mostly lead.
But we're going to have to rethink the physiology of the Peladonians and the entire story if the sky is made of lead. Can we just go with the jamming wave?
If that's easier, okay.
Hey, you guys got the song. I'm having a jamming wave, right? I'm saving you from the lead sky.
What if you go against lead? Leadist.
You hate lead.
If the sky is lead, they're not going to be humanoid. And I would guess that the moment the Doctor steps out of the TARDIS and Clara, the pressure crushes them. The Ice Warriors might survive. Arcturus probably be okay. Alpha Centauri is a smear. You can't make the sky lead. Cloud. Opening shot. No. Lead doesn't thunder and lightning. You're being fools.
Be lead pellets coming down from the sky.
Shut up. Stop it.
They're climbing up going, bloody hell.
Stop the lead now. Stop. It's not going to be a lead sky. Stop it now. I'm terribly sorry, listener.
Maybe they're in a Dyson sphere.
Oh, fuck off.
Thank you, Doctor.
So the rebellion comes into the throne room.
On the planet Peladon, where the sky's all nice and made of oxygen.
If you insist.
I insist.
And Peladon's guards give up like a bunch of pussies.
They do.
And
they're shit.
They're absolute shit.
Sack them. Sack a lot of them.
Yeah. Hepesh threatens Peladon now. He's demanding that the delegates leave, or he'll kill this guy that he's supposedly brought up like his own son for the last.
He's basically he is actually going, go back to where you came from.
Yeah. That's exactly what he's doing. Yeah.
So I kind of which of you it was who came up with it, but the idea of him being Nigel Farage just totally works.
And then the Doctor arrives with Agador, who's hypnotized, is under thrall, and Agador kills Hepesh, which is kind of handy.
Deals with the moral conundrum nicely.
Yeah, it just we cut through all of that. Yeah, he's dead.
Yeah,
we don't have to worry about it. Yeah. It's strange. My memory was that Hepesh died, but then he talks Peladon round at the last minute. But he doesn't, does he? He just dies. No, I don't know why.
No, he dies and he goes, oh, maybe you were right.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I don't know what events. I don't know what events of the last 5 minutes suddenly made him think, hang on a minute, maybe I was wrong.
It's like, that Agador's a bit shit, actually. It really hurts.
Shouldn't have done that. Never mind. Oh dear, that was a bad choice.
Green people are all right. I hate claws now. Fucking claws.
Yeah.
That brings things to a nice, neat ending, really. The TARDIS gets brought up from the hole.
Yep.
Peladon asks, in this version, asks Clara to stay with him.
Again. Clara backing towards the TARDIS, going, for fuck's sake, what is wrong with you?
Get some game.
Get some game, change your boots.
No means no.
No means no, absolutely.
Peladon's going to be coronated, but then the real Earth delegate turns up.
He's going to be what, sorry?
Coronated.
Coronated.
It's coronation. Coronated's a word, isn't it?
I thought it was just crowned.
I have heard coronated. I'm sure it's a word, but you know.
Have you?
Yeah.
We need a dictionary expert.
Yeah. I need someone to speak English on my
Speak
behalf.
English.
Speak English. Good.
Run for your life.
We're nearly there.
Yeah.
King Peladon is going to be crowned at his coronation. The Doctor and Clara, they're up for a coronation, but then the real Earth delegate turns up.
Helen Mirren,
who in 1972 is a woman, which is quite cool.
Yes.
And this is the same story that wouldn't let women inside the throne room unless they're of royal blood. So it's an interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah.
So presumably if she had turned up, they'd have went, piss off. You're not a queen. Yeah, get out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they would have fucked him. Yeah. But yeah, the Doctor and Clara basically have to run away, which I can imagine Matt Smith doing because, they're not who they say they are.
And the delegate, I've always thought it was slightly odd in this future world. This is a delegate from Earth, from the Galactic Federation, is amazed at the TARDIS dematerializing.
Yeah.
Mate, you've had T-Mat for 1,000 years. Shut up. or however long it is.
T-Mat's sort of old hat in the bin by this point, isn't it? Kind of, yeah.
You think, yeah. So, teleport basically is not that amazing. But so I think that translates, that's one of the best translations actually in terms of story that we could have possibly had. It really does fit in with being a political comment on the time it was done.
Yeah, you could cut some of the running around in episodes 2 and 3 and just get that down to 45 minutes quite happily.
Yeah. Peterson Joseph would be fantastic. Ed Sheeran, possibly less so.
Yeah, but he's got a song, so that's good.
The monsters will all look good.
Yeah.
Even Alpha. The Doctor hasn't got much to do, though.
No.
The Doctor does spend a lot being inactive before really basically sort of fighting Grun and beating Agador.
We can't quite visualize Matt Smith doing. Yeah.
No, story-wise, I think it's brilliant.
I mean, it just works. It always has. It's a good one.
It is. Yeah. So, are we in speeding at this point? Ensplinment. Well, is ours better or worse than?
I put it on a par. It's totally different era.
Yeah.
It would be a totally different looking, sounding, feeling story. But I think it would be good. Either one.
I think it would be on a par as well.
I think the same. Yeah.
Good story is good story.
Yeah.
Well, I was just typing some little bits and pieces there to bring a certain website up, and I think it's time we generated a regeneration. And so next up, we've got number 11 again.
Oh.
Okay.
So there we go.
Never off the bloody television.
Yeah. Indeed.
In Time Ram World.
In 107.
107. Let me look that one up.
Tom.
It is Tom, yeah.
It is, isn't it?
100 Stolen Blood.
17, season 7.
It's Nightmare of Eden.
Is it Nightmare of Eden?
It's Nightmare of Eden.
Nice.
Oh, I don't have to watch that because I literally only watched that a couple of weeks ago.
Matt Smith's Nightmare of Eden. That's going to work quite well.
Yeah, I think so.
Matt Smith's doing well.
I can totally see them doing a drug story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the big letdowns of it really are the effects and the mandrels. They're going to be good.
Yeah.
Could be heading for a classic, guys.
Could be. Yeah.
We might be able to coast lazily through it.
That make a change. Yeah.
Won't it? Won't it?
Well, that has been Time Ram. Thank you for joining us. If you do wish to join the conversation on Twitter, we can be found under #TimeRam. I'm on there as @BazTimeRam. Rupert is @RupertBooth, and Paul is @PaulVariates. I should also say thanks to Ben Jones for providing our music. We also have a Facebook site and our own website at timeram.com. Do drop in and see us. For those of you who like the old-fashioned ways, we have an email address, info@timeram.com. And also we can be found on Patreon. Like to contribute to the production of this podcast, we'd be extremely grateful. We'll give you access. Extremely grateful. We'll give you access to some nice things. We're putting them on there. So join us next time for Matt Smith in Nightmare of Eden. And good night.
Good night.
Sorry, while you were talking, me and Paul made each other.
Sorry,
that's all right. I heard. That's fine. I thought I'd leave it.
It's just because I said Alf with the horn.
I ran out of words.
Have you any idea how successful censorship is on TV? Don't know the answer? Successful, isn't it?